What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So after much deliberation, I've been thinking about this for a very long time. I've gone by Sinister Productions, my channel, since I created my channel, and I've come to the realization I don't believe I'm going to be able to grow with that name, with that brand, with anything like that. So now I am officially rebranding Sinister Productions into just me, Tommy Apex. So my nickname is Apex. I've been called that for years by a lot of my friends. So what better way to kind of put that into my channel than to put that name into my channel, so to speak. But anyway, as of this moment on, everything is being rebranded to Tommy Apex. I really hope you guys still follow along. We're gonna have a lot of content. I'm trying to rebrand or regroup the channel, kind of revamp everything and do some more stuff. Like I said, I've got a lot of stuff coming with the Z, a lot of stuff coming with the Skyline. So without further deliberation, let's jump into today's vlog, Rebuild Ronin Z, Part 1. What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Well, it is that time. It is coming close to winter. We're approaching near the end of fall, and I know you guys know that I got the Z. I know you saw from the last video that we did the brakes and everything, or the replaced the hard brake line and everything on the Z. Well, I found some other issues, and I've not been very happy with the way the car was put together. I found a lot of things that probably should have done better, or should have been done better. The engine swap was, there's just a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have done. A lot of things that I probably would have done better than what was done. I'm a little bit more meticulous when it comes to certain things on the car and doing certain things. I have a certain standard of which I can't have things looking like loose zip ties that are not cut and just shit all over the place, and you know, it's a lot to go in. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a 280Z rebuild series. So this is going to be the start of it. We're actually going to be doing a rebuild series on the Datsun. We're going to be pulling the motor apart. We're going to pull it out of the vehicle and go back through and do a lot of stuff to the car. It sucks because the car's running and driving, but I mean, she's got oil leaks, she's got all these other things that need to be addressed. And the only way to address it properly is to tear it back down, pull the engine out. I'm gonna take it all apart, reseal it, new time belt, water pump, oil pump, a whole 9 yards, rebuild the engine, and we're gonna give it a go. So hopefully we can get that done by spring or summer. If it takes over through next year, that's okay. I've got the Skyline still. But I'm getting ready to go on my last drive with the Z. She is absolutely beautiful. And actually, yeah, absolutely gorgeous. This is going to be her last drive for a while. She's going to be coming apart. She's blowing out blue smoke, which I don't like. I don't know why. It's got to be, this thing's got to get run through. So we're gonna fix her up, and yeah, we'll get her back on the road. But yeah, my brother's gonna come over, and we're gonna take this thing apart piece by piece. Whatever needs to be done, it's gonna get done, and we're gonna rebuild this thing, and it's gonna come back bigger, better, and faster than ever. And this is going to be my #1 focus right now. The Skyline is a running, driving, very reliable car. This thing needs a lot of attention. So we're going to get that done and knock that out, and I'm going to bring you guys along with me. God, I love this thing.
such an amazing car to drive. I'm really gonna miss driving this thing. I can't even tell you. But I just gotta keep in mind that she's gonna come back better than ever, no matter how long it takes. God damn it, feels good. I think it sounds amazing.
And we are starting phase 1 of the rebuild series for my 78 Datsun 280Z with the RB25 DET Neo swap. I've already started doing some stuff here. As you guys may or may not know from a previous video, this swap was done on the car. I did not have anything to do with the swap. Car is absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely really love the car. There was just some things that were done to the car when the swap was done that was kind of like, I'm not gonna say shortcuts, but I have a little bit more level of a detail. I like more detail and things done cleanly, and this just wasn't done to my standards. You know, I'm not passing blame to anybody or the guy who did it. You know, he wanted to swap the car. It's a beautiful car, it's a good swap, and he accomplished that. But there's a lot of things, simple stuff, like bird edges, brackets that look like this, that was bolted. I mean, that's just kind of cheaply done. There's a lot of things that like that, you know, uncut zip ties. And one thing I do want to show you guys that I noticed, let me grab a flashlight. It sprung a oil leak, pretty bad one, down the side of the block here. I don't know if you can really see it, but it looks like it could be coming from, I mean, timing cover, it could be front main seal, cam seals, I don't know. We'll have to get in there and look, but once I get it taken apart, I'll be able to let you guys see it. But this is phase 1. We're basically just gonna start with a compression test is what I'm gonna do now. I'm already getting the coils out of here, things like that. So essentially, that's where we're gonna start. I wanna do a compression test before we take this thing apart, and then we're gonna go from there. And once we get that done, and if everything checks out okay, then we're gonna start taking this engine apart. So not only does it have an oil leak, but it actually is, on a cold start, after it's been sitting for a few days, it's actually starting to blow out a little bit of blue smoke after it starts to warm up just a little bit. Cold start, you let it run for about 3 or 4 minutes, then it starts blowing out blue smoke pretty heavily, and then it clears up. So I don't know if the valve stem seals are bad, are leaking, basically getting blow by, if the rings are bad. That's why I'm going to do a compression test. And then also, if the compression test comes out okay, the only other thing I can think of is, like I said, valve stem seals in the head, or the turbo seals, which the turbo's actually been, it's basically a 2-year-old rebuild, and there's no oil on the turbo inlet, so I don't see anything that could cause that. So I'm leaning towards, I'm really hoping it's just the valve stem seals causing the leakage. But like I said, we're gonna do a compression test and hope for the best, because that's gonna be a little discouraging if the engine's bad. So, but we'll check, see what's going on with it. All right, so essentially what I want to do with this thing in the long run though, I do want to do a top mount turbo manifold to put the turbo up top. My brother's going to make a custom intercooler piping, all hand done by River City Speed, and then going to put bigger injectors. I want to put 1000cc injectors. I need to get the head decked, put a metal head gasket in there, ARP head studs, rebuild that, maybe some cams and some cam gears, of course replace the timing belt, water pump, possibly the oil pump and everything under there while I'm there, front and rear main seals, turn the boost up, bigger fuel pump. It's already got a Walbro 255 fuel pump. It's got 440cc injectors in it right now, but I do want to up those. I want to be able to turn the boost up a lot more, so I do need fuel for that. It's got a Haltech Platinum Pro ECU tuned by Shoe Tuning right now, so that's not going to be an issue. Bigger injectors. Might change out the rail, that or do something with that hideous purple, at least, at minimum. There's a lot of cheap parts on here. I mean, this is CX Racing turbo kit, essentially. That's turbo, not the turbo itself, but the CX Racing intercooler, which is okay. I mean, I'm not going to hate on that. It's still an okay intercooler. The piping is kind of generic. I don't like the blue couplers. So I'm going to get my brother to do some nice custom pie cut intercooler piping for this thing. And yeah, it's going to be pretty cool once it's all done. I'd like to push anywhere from 450 to close to about 480 wheel horsepower. This B&R turbo, it's a 50 millimeter trim. It's a 50 trim rather, and so it's running at about 10 psi of boost right now. So like I said, I want to turn the boost up on it. It's rated to about 440 I believe, 440 horsepower. We're gonna see if it holds together. If it doesn't, I may have to upgrade the turbo eventually. If it does hold together, we'll see. Like I said, I'm gonna get Matt to retune this thing when it's all done and back together. And then what I'm gonna do is, if I only have to push the turbo to the max, and if it's only putting out about 430, 440 at the wheels, you know what? I'd be happy about that. I'd be okay with that. It's about 290 wheel horsepower right now, which isn't bad. I feel like that's really tame for this setup for the RB25. It is a Neo, so I know it can hold reliably at least 500 horsepower at the wheels. So she can definitely get turned up on stock internals. I just want to make sure the head gets taken care of, figure out what that blue oil smoke is, and make sure the engine's healthy. Sweet. 155. Do one more test on that cylinder. So that's good. Looking at about 157. It's a little bit lower than the other cylinder 1, cylinder 2. Cylinder 1, cylinder 2 came up to approximately 160, which is extremely healthy for an RB. So I'm gonna say 158. All right, so I have completed the compression test on the RB25 Neo, and these are the results. Actually, are really good. So cylinder 1 came up to 160 psi, which is extremely good. So the RB motors, especially the RB25s, on a cold engine, the compression is supposed to be at 150 psi per cylinder. Anything lower than that is nothing wrong with it really, but it's not as strong as it should be. Cylinder 1 actually came out to 160 psi. Cylinder 2 is 160. Cylinder 3 is 158. Cylinder 4 is 150. So that's like 150, 151, and then cylinder 5 came up to 151, and then cylinder 6 is 160. So cylinder 6 is usually the problem child on RB engines, because the inline 6, on these engines, because that's the last cylinder in the engine, the oil pump is way the hell up here, and sometimes the oil doesn't get all the way back to that cylinder 6. Sometimes it doesn't. It kind of, like, I guess you could say, it dries out. It can damage the cylinder or whatever. When the oil pump starts to go. But the oil pump is obviously really good. All cylinders are fine across the board. So now I feel really comfortable about taking this engine apart. The blue smoke now, I'm almost pretty certain it's the valve stem seals in the cylinder head. But that's not going to be a problem, because I'm going to rip this engine out, pull the cylinder head off. Like I said, I'm going to deck the head, put new valve stem seals in it, metal head gasket, ARP head studs, and put it back together. And it's going to be legit. Like, it's going to be nice and clean. Get the head freshened up and everything and all that good stuff. Like I said, put some cams in it, adjustable cam gears, new time belt, all that good shit. So that's going to be it for this vlog for the number 1. This is basically going to be a continued series. Obviously, I'm going to have other content along the way as well, but this is the project that we're working on, guys. And Skyline is obviously sitting over there, but that's a running, driving, reliable car. RB20 still kicking, And that, honestly, I'm just gonna do cosmetic stuff to that car, and God, man, the thing needs side skirts so bad. If anybody has a set of Type M side skirts, please holler at me. I need some for the R32 greatly, really bad, like really bad. Anyway, all right guys, that's gonna be it. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell, and follow me along for this build series. And like I said, I'm gonna have other content for you guys to kind of keep track of. So thanks again. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.